most of our audience is self-taught. They know how a design system works, but they don't really know the step-by-step process of making a practical system. How should they go about building their own design systems?
That's a great question. And an advice, a suggestion I always give to people who ask me that question is to start small, because you want to build momentum while keeping a sustainable and predictable pace. You're starting from scratch. So it's very important to set the proper and lay the proper foundations in place without trying to wear 10,000 different hats at once, right? So what you build, you also got to maintain. So when you start designing and developing those components for the design system, eventually you will also need to bug fix them because a few mistakes can be made. Or you'll also need to support and help other people adopting these components. It's a learning process to understand what works and what not. And starting small and proceeding gradually is going to help a lot with that. So start small. It truly is the first most important advice I can give about it. And the second would be, I think, to not overplan, because at companies, no matter if it's a huge company or a startup or a web agency, but things can change real fast. And there really is no reason to get widespread commitments of adoption from 1,000 or 100 people. You don't really need such alignment to start working on a design system. So it's just pointless to overplan for the next 5 years, when 3-4 months, something could change and invalidate all the planning you made. So don't overplan is another very important point. There is no reason for a multi-year roadmap. Leave things quarter after quarter, or if you are in a small company, even month after month. And I also sometimes suggest not to even look at patterns and templates early on, because it's very tempting to start working on those because the impact is considerable. And we all want to see big things and big components out there. But without solid and well-established foundations to support those complex components, things will eventually start to break down. And that's because the components themselves, the componentry has been optimized for a specific use case. And reusing those components in other places could not work. And that's when we create new components and new alternatives without a bigger picture in mind. And that's not exactly how a design system is built. It's built from the ground up. You start from the foundations and then you create alternatives or other additional variants for the components. You cannot start from a variant and then figure out what's its foundational layer or its foundational representation.
Interesting. And this is so simple to understand, yet very few people are following this.
You just saw a snippet from whiteboard.fm. You can watch the entire episode by clicking on the link in description. We have hundreds of clips on design case studies, hiring processes, and much more. This podcast is a part of the 10K Designers Network. Check out our website whiteboard.fm to learn more.